When you think of work, what do you envision? You probably think the same things, being a therapist, being a doctor, going into engineering. Not everyone has the same upbringing, and all prostitutes are trying to do is either make a living or empower themselves. When it comes down to it, people should have the power to, the freedom to do almost whatever they want with it, because it is their body, their space. Prostitution is an industry, and it deserves just as much respect as any other. The decriminalization of prostitution would serve many good deeds around the world, as well as for those sex workers. A large percentage of people believe that prostitution should never be decriminalized because it won't bring any good for people and it won't help human sex trafficking. An investigation into 8 American cities found that 36% of prostitutes reported their buyers that were either abusive or violent. How can we fix this? There is a solution, and while it would take a while like any other big movement, organization is key to providing safe working conditions and health. Now, the 3 things I'll be going through today is the history of how prostitution was accidentally legalized, indoor prostitution, how organization is key for decriminalizing prostitution, and how decriminalizing prostitution will help reduce violence against women. In today's news, I'll be sharing a study done by 2 researchers from 2003 to 2009 by 2 researchers from Baylor University and University of California, Los Angeles by the names of Cunningham and Shaw. They did their study on a loophole in Rhode Island, and Rhode Island legislators in 1981 were trying to reduce street prostitution. They altered a law forbidding such, but they forgot to mention the works of indoor prostitution, which ultimately allowed that to become technically legalized. In 2003, a group of massage parlor employees were able to avoid prosecution of their acts of indoor prostitution. Their case was taken public, but it wasn't again until 2009 that indoor prostitution was once again recriminalized. At the time when indoor prostitution was decriminalized, there was a 40% decrease in female gonorrhea as well as a 30% decrease in rape cases. According to the Chicago Policy Review, which recorded this report, decriminalization of prostitution empowers women to seek law enforcement, which also eventually allows them to engage in less risky behaviors such as sex without condoms. This Rhode Island instance is one of the few minimal cases that goes to show that the decriminalization of prostitution will bring good deeds. Another vital need for sex workers is the organization of the whole industry. Currently, this whole business is illegal and underground, besides a few red light districts around the world such as De Wallen in Amsterdam, Netherlands. According to the Open Society Foundations, the decriminalization of prostitution promotes safe working conditions. Without making sex work criminalized, it allows it can be allowed to become organized and focus on the safety of every sex worker individual. Not only should prostitution be decriminalized, but there should also be some governmental control on this. Here's an example. Prostitution started to be decriminalized in areas of Nevada in 1971, the only U.S. state to do so. Operations at these brothels said that prohibiting prostitution only drives the industry further underground, which is very unsafe. Now, organization also protects against STIs and STDs such as HIV. According to the Scientific American, Smarjit Jana is a man that worked in the red light district of Kolkata, and he worked hard to help prevent sex workers from obtaining or getting HIV. Thinking of HIV as an occupational hazard gave him the solution, a workers' collective. The outcome of a negotiation depends on the relation between two parties, John explains. When an individual sex worker works with a client, he or she is weak. To add to the power of that equation, they need the support of other sex workers. Doing this will allow them to be stronger against the clients that are out there to abuse and take advantage of them. Now, down to the last reason why I believe prostitution should be decriminalized is for how it will help reduce violence against women. There's a study done by two researchers at the University of Nevada by the names of Beck and Brent. They did their study comparing prostitution in San Francisco versus those in brothels. 82% of these prostitutes in San Francisco have been assaulted, and 68% of them had been raped. Now, on the other hand, in these brothels, it was a much safer area to work in. The owners of these brothels made sure to call the police the moment something went awry to show their clients that they won't tolerate anything. How can we change the statistics that I said earlier? Well, the biggest thing is to provide a safe space for sex workers. How can we give the means to provide the sex workers this safe space? Create reports of violence against women and gather evidence. Encourage sex workers to keep up with education. Offer incentives to workplaces in exchange for protection of these sex workers in public places. Not to mention also education, such as informing them on how to recognize these dangerous situations and also how to get out of them. Going back through this vital lesson today, we learned how an instance of the decriminalization of prostitution actually led to good things such as less female gonorrhea and less rape. Also, the organization of prostitution is vital to providing safe working conditions and help to those sex workers. And finally, prostitution will help decrease violence against women. I could actually go on and on about these things for why prostitution should be decriminalized, but I should just leave off with this. If you just go off and turn your nose down at this, it won't affect you. But it only affects them because they can't do anything about this because this is their life. Thank you.